Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Middleware Technologies. Today we'll be looking at how we can set up a GitLab server using Linux RPM package. So let me show you some details like what all platforms are supported for GitLab. Okay, so if you go into Google and try to search for download and install GitLab, it will directly take you to the page which shows the instructions related to the GitLab installation and setup using the RPM method or the Linux package method. But the official Linux packages that are supported are only for these operating systems. So you can see it is supporting only Ubuntu, Debian, Alma Linux, CentOS, and OpenSUSE, and some other AWS operating systems, but it doesn't support the Fedora operating system. So we will be looking at how we can install GitLab server on a Fedora latest operating system, that is Fedora Linux 39 server, and we will try to set it up using the Linux RPM package. So let us see how we can approach this in this video. As you can see, it basically does not support the Fedora operating system, but it still supports the Alma Linux versions 8 and 9 for RHEL compatible distributions. So it basically supports Alma Linux and Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8 and 9 because they are the long-term support versions basically. So GitLab only supports the operating systems that are providing the LTS versions. Okay. So let me go into the instructions for Alma Linux. So as you can see, it provides us with the instructions wherein we need to install a set of default set of prerequisite packages, and then we can install the GitLab's package using the following repository. So this is the important part wherein we need to basically download a package repository, and from there we can install the RPM which is required for the GitLab server setup. So let us try to get this script, which basically is used to install the GitLab server on Alma Linux or any Red Hat long-term version support that is supported by GitLab. Okay, so let me go into my shell, and here we'll try to download that package, that script. So this script is used to install and configure the repository and basically install the package for GitLab server and try to start it up. So let me open this. So as you can see, this is the basic script which is used to find out which OS and which distribution you are using, and based on that it will decide whether this operating system is supported or not supported. But here if you go into the main section, we can directly go to this link wherein it shows this is the repo config URL. So you can use this URL. So we can use this URL. So let me copy this until the part OS and distribution. And let me just close the script, and we will try to do wget on that with distribution change it to 9. We will be downloading the script, the repository for Red Hat 9 operating system. Okay, so this is how we can just download the repository for operating system Red Hat with version 9. Okay, so you can just go to this URL instead of using wget. We can just browse this URL in our browser. So as you can see, so this is the repository file that we can get for Red Hat 9 version. So we can just copy the following section, that is GitLab Enterprise Edition, and we can use it to install the GitLab server on Fedora package, on the Fedora operating system. So let us see like how we can do this using the Ansible playbook, which consists of a set of roles. Okay, so I'm currently working on Fedora 39 server, wherein we are going to set up the GitLab Enterprise Edition server. So here is my project structure, wherein like we have a playbook and we have a set of roles. So let me go into my shell when you will be getting a clear picture. So these are my roles, wherein we will be like basically installing, configuring, and like exposing the GitLab service, and we are going to set up some startup scripts like start, stop, and restart services with Ansible playbooks. Okay, so this is what like we are going to use in order to set up our GitLab server. So let me go into my VS Code, wherein I have opened my project, which consists of the Ansible playbook and the respective roles. So let us try to go through all of this to understand like what exactly we are doing in order to set up the GitLab server. So as a first step, like we are going to basically install the GitLab server. So you can see this is the playbook wherein we are going to call the following roles. So the first role, the next thing is basically to just validate your connectivity with the remote server wherein we are setting up the GitLab server. So this is very basic playbook, you can say, like which validates the connectivity, SSH connectivity with your server. And the first one that, as I said, like is installing the GitLab server. So here like what we are doing is we are going to set up this repository which we have basically downloaded or extracted using the Red Hat operating system and version 9, and we have just accessed the repo file using the browser, and we can capture this content. So I'm just copying that content over here, and we have updated the version number to 9, and base architecture it is going to capture while the Ansible playbook is executing. Okay, and these are the keys which we are going to use for this repository, and this is the certificate store which will be used in order to validate the SSL certificate. And this, once the repository is downloaded and installed, like the next step is installing the prerequisite packages. So here like we are going to install the following prerequisite packages as per the download and install instructions for the Linux RPM based package installation which is provided by GitLab documentation. Okay, so these are the prerequisite packages that we are going to install, and once that is done, like we are going to install the GitLab Enterprise Edition package from that repository. So this is the important part wherein we are going to install the GitLab Enterprise Edition server once the repository has been configured. So this is about the installing of GitLab server. So once installation is done, the next step that we are going to do is configure the GitLab server. So before executing this package, okay, or before executing this role, let us try to get into all the roles that we are going to use in order to set up the GitLab server. Okay, so as I said, like the next thing is we are going to do is configure the GitLab server. So if I go into the task main.yaml file, so what we are doing over here is we are basically uploading a config file, that is gitlab.rp file, which is an important configuration file in order to configure the GitLab server, and we are creating a set of SSL certificates for our server, in order to enable TLS communication with the server. So we are going to install our servers at the following SSL directory, wherein we are going to copy the key file and the cert file, and then we are going to reconfigure the GitLab server using GitLab CTL reconfigure. Then we are going to check the GitLab CTL status, GitLab server status. Okay, so here like you can see the config directory, like this is basically the defaults that we have set up. So GitLab server config directory is going to be the default location, that is etc GitLab, and this is the config template that we are going to update as per our requirement, and this is the host on which we are basically setting up our GitLab server. And these are the SSL key and cert file, like which are already there in my template location. So regarding the, let me increase the font size a bit. So regarding the certificate, like we can generate the certificate using this following OpenSSL command, which basically generates a key file, that is this key file, and generates this certificate file, and we are using the RSA key type with 2048 key strength. Okay, and we are using this SSL cert.conf file, which is basically a file with the details for the certificate that we are requesting. Okay, and make sure like you are updating the common name and DNS entry with the FTDN for your remote host. Okay, so once this file is created, you can just execute this OpenSSL command in order to generate your certificates and place it in this templates folder. So this is the defaults from where the variables are replaced, and this is the main YAML definition file wherein the execution, the configuration of the GitLab server happens. So it basically uploads the relevant config files in the SSL certificates, and it will reconfigure the GitLab server. And the thing is that we are placing the SSL certificates in the default location wherein the GitLab server tries to look for SSL certificates. Okay, and that default location is etc GitLab SSL. etc GitLab is the config directory, and there we are creating the SSL directory. Okay, so that is all about the GitLab configuration. Now let us go into the next step, that is step 3, wherein we are going to expose HTTPS protocol. Okay, so let me go into that role. So here what we are doing is we are going to expose HTTP and HTTPS service, wherein our GitLab server will listen, and we are going to update our firewall setting in such a way that these settings are permanent. Okay, so HTTP is basically not required, but in case you are setting it up for the first time without SSL certificates, you might need to enable this one. But once you do the HTTPS setup with the SSL certificates, then I think there is no need for HTTP protocol to be exposed. So this is how like we can do the firewall settings for exposing the HTTP and HTTPS protocol. Now let us go on to our next step. So once we have installed and configured the GitLab server and exposed the relevant protocols on which we are going to access the GitLab server, it's time to start up the GitLab server. Okay, so for GitLab server startup, like we are going to use the GitLab CTL utility in order to start and ensure that it is up and running. So there are a set of services that start up when we start up the GitLab server, and we can check that their status using the GitLab CTL status. Okay, so this is all about starting up the GitLab server. And the next role is basically, next step is basically stopping the GitLab server. So you can similarly stop the GitLab server using the same utility gitlabctl and passing the stop command. Okay. And for restart, like in case you have changed something in the configuration that and you wanted to ensure that configuration gets reapplied, you can just restart the GitLab server. And for GitLab restart, like we can just pass the, this is my role, we can just pass the gitlabctl utility with restart option, and we can just check the status later on. And now let us try to look at the basically the playbook which we are going to use in order to set up our GitLab server. So this is our playbook which is executed on the following host, and that host is basically nothing but the remote server wherein we are going to set up the GitLab server. And here you can see, like, we are executing this with a root. And the first thing is we are going to validate the SSL setup, the SSH connectivity, and then we are going to install the Linux package using the Linux install GitLab server role. Then we are going to configure using Linux configure GitLab server. Then we are going to expose the HTTP and HTTPS protocol, and then we are going to start up our GitLab server. So for this, like, basically I'm going to comment out these two roles. So the importance of these tags you can see over here is, like, we can call a specific role using a tag. Okay, so let me go to my readme instructions. So this is my readme instructions as I mentioned in my step 8. So you can call this playbook Linux setup GitLab server, passing this inventory file and passing this tag basically to tell the playbook to execute this specific task, this specific role which has the following tag. Okay, so if we are not going to provide this tag, it is going to just execute all the roles which are available in this playbook in the order that are mentioned. So right now, like, what we are going to do is we are going to comment out this restart and stop, and we are going to execute all of these roles in that particular order using the ansible playbook. So let me copy this command and go to my shell, and we are going to just execute this without that tag information. And if you are doing this installation for the first time, like the package installation for GitLab server, it will take some time, and even the startup of the GitLab server, it is going to take some time because it is like not one service, but there are a set of services like Redis, Sidekick, PostgreSQL, which are all going to be started up in the backend, and it will take some time for you to validate. Okay, so here is my playbook execution, wherein you can see like I already have that the GitLab server installed, so it shows okay for each task. So let me go through each task so that you understand. So here, like, the first task is basically validating the SSH connectivity with our remote host, and then we are adding the repository, which is already done, and then we are installing the prerequisite packages, and then installing the GitLab's Enterprise Edition package. Once that is done, we are going to the Linux configure role, wherein we are uploading the configuration file and ensuring the SSL certificate directories exist, and the GitLab, the SSL server cert and key file are uploaded. Then we are going to reconfigure and check the status. But reconfiguring the GitLab server is not going to start up the GitLab server. So when we try to check the status, it is going to show us an error like the services are not up. Okay, so what we can do for this one is we can just go to the configure task, and here we will try to disable this part. Okay, so once this is disabled, it is not going to check the GitLab status, and it is going to go through this role, and then it will expose the HTTP HTTPS protocol, and then it will try to start up the GitLab server. So let me try to execute that same command again with that status disabled in the status check disabled in the configure role. So as you can see, the reconfiguration is done. It has exposed already the HTTP and HTTPS protocol, and it has restarted the firewall settings. So this is basically a part of expose GitLab server role. And then we are ensuring that the GitLab service is started, and then we are checking the GitLab status. So now everything looks good. We can just go to the remote host. This is my host name, host, wherein we are setting up the GitLab server, and here you can check the basically the GitLab installation happens at the following location, etc GitLab. So this is where the installation of the GitLab server is carried out. Okay, and the important configuration file that is used for GitLab configuration is it's placed in the etc GitLab. So this is my etc gitlab.rb file. So you need to open with root permissions. Okay, so this is the default configuration file which we have modified actually. So let me show you what exactly we have modified. So if I go into my configuration step, that is yes, so this is my step 2, that is configuration. So here I'll just show you what exactly we have updated in the gitlab.rb file. So this gitlab.rb file is basically present in the templates folder. So let me go into my local machine. Let me clear my screen and just show you the content basically which we have updated or enabled. Okay, so you can see my external URL, I have updated it to point to HTTPS protocol with the fully qualified domain name of my host, and then I'm setting up the initial root password to ensure that this is the root password that is set up for the user root. Okay, and then we can just enable whether you want to display the initial root password in the logs that gets rolled, and whether you want to store that initial password in the database. And then I'm just changing this Prometheus listen address to 9191 from 1990, because 1990 port is already used by system D on the Fedora operating system, and when you try to start up the GitLab server, it is not going to start up the Prometheus on the 1990 port, because that is already bound to another service. So that is the reason we are going to change this port to 9191, and this is the only configuration that I have updated in the gitlab.rb file. And this gitlab.rb file basically you can get it from the GitLab repositories. So search for gitlab.rb config template. So it will directly take you to the template file, which basically you can download or extract from this repository, and you can just use it in our role. So as I said, like here in this templates, Linux role templates, like we have this gitlab.rb file modified and kept. So this is all about setting up the GitLab server. So now let us check the let me go into my remote server and check the GitLab services that are up. So you can check it with sudo gitlab ctl status. So you can see these are all the services that start up in the backend for you in order for you to use GitLab server. So there is a Nginx, there is a Redis server, there is Postgres, and there are some exporters for Prometheus use. You can see. So these are all services that get installed and started up when you start up the GitLab service. And the last thing is we can validate our GitLab server by going into the URL with the following https :/ and the fqdn. Just enter and try to log in with the root credentials. I have already updated my root credentials again, so this is the different password that I'm using. So this is how like you will be able to get your GitLab server set up on the Fedora operating system, though it is not supported officially by GitLab. But the thing like I'm doing it over here is just to show you, like if you want to do a setup for learning and development purpose, like you can just do it on the Fedora like this as I showed. It is only for learning and learning purpose, but if you really want to use GitLab and in the production server like you want to use, I would recommend you go for the officially supported operating systems. Like you can just go for the Ubuntu operating system if you are comfortable with the Debian package installation and setup. Otherwise, like you can just go with the Docker image which is also provided. So Docker image you can also use on the Fedora operating system. So for that you just need to make sure that you set up the Docker service on your Fedora operating system before you go for the Docker image installation and startup. Okay. So that is all I wanted to show you. So this is, let me go to the last tab. So we have executed our playbook and we have validated our results as our last step. So that is, and again like we have validated the URL on which the GitLab application is running. So that is all I wanted to show you in this video. Thank you all, thanks for watching this video, and you guys have a great day.